All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the bad boy Lyes back again for another show. He's going to be obviously here once a week. We just don't know what day. We'll just work it by the year. But Lyes, first of all, my man, how you doing?
Miz, I'm doing good, bro. Thank you again for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure, as you know, and I'm looking forward to chop it up and speak ball with you.
Brilliant. First of all, thank you for people that have joined in, and thank you to all the people that will join down the track as well. Soccer Turtle, thank you heaps, my man. You're always there, always supporting, which is obviously highly appreciated. Guys, let's get this show started. First of all, Lyes, obviously you being a Man United fan, you know, that's your forte, but obviously you talk about football in general anyway. But let's start with the whole Man United things, because I've got a few burning questions inside me that I really want to talk about. But before we get into those burning questions, quickly, Man United beating West Ham to go to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. It's the FA Cup thing going on at the moment, whole heap of FA Cup matches going on. For me, I watched a little bit of that particular match. It seemed very lackluster. West Ham actually had their opportunities as well in that particular match to get at you guys. There were a couple of silly mistakes at the back from Lindelof, giving the ball away once where there was 3-on-2 situation. West Ham just didn't have that quality to finish you guys off. But yeah, it ended up being a Man United win in extra time. How do you think about that whole match, the total sort of performance of Man United in that particular match?
You kind of honestly went the way I was expecting. United in recent weeks, and we'll definitely touch on this, haven't been great. They've been getting results here and there. The performances, more worryingly, have not improved. They're kind of going stale. The football is kind of going stale in a way. And yesterday, I guess for me, was a continuation of just that. And we saw a lot of players that really weren't getting opportunities in the Premier League, such as Alex Telles, such as Donny van de Beek. Those kinds of players were brought into the fold, given a chance, and I really wouldn't say anyone took their chance especially well, right? Like, it was a chance for a lot of players to make a mark, make a stamp on the 11, and no one took it with both hands. A lot of question marks regarding Van de Beek still. What is his use in this Manchester United team? What's the best pivot that Man United can put out on the best given day? We still don't know the answer to that. The most important thing is getting the win, right? We're into the next round of the FA Cup, but I think we leave with more questions than answers after this game.
Yeah, man, that's so well said, because that's exactly how I sort of looked at that. I mean, this Man United team, let's really talk about this, because this is my burning question right now, yeah? We'll discuss a little bit before we get into the Chelsea versus Barnsley FA Cup preview. First of all, shout out to my main man, Manhandled Jonathan. Please, guys, subscribe to his channel. Also, Worldwide Chels in the house. All right. Here we go back again. Worldwide Chels, please subscribe to him as well. Arman Ali, thank you for being here. Lucina Kamara, thanks for being here as well. Dita, thanks for being here. We've also got Seneo, thanks for being as well. Love from Ghana, that's brilliant, man. Ghana is in the house. So, Jasper as well, or Jasper, probably Jasper, thank you for being here. So, guys, let's really dig into this. Lyes, here's my burning question. You see how teams like, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, they have the likes of Frank Lampard, Arteta, you guys have Ole, and then you have Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp, City with Pep. I feel like, and this is no disrespect to managers like Frank Lampard, Arteta, and Ole, but at this level, in the Premier League, if you want to be serious, you got to be teams like, I suppose, Jurgen Klopp and Man City with a very, very smart, experienced, intelligent manager at this level. I'm so glad. Look, I hated the way it all sort of ended for Frank Lampard. We all dreamt that one day he could have taken us to the pinnacle. It would have been so fantastic as a player legend, taking the club and winning that. But at the end of the day, the truth is, he simply didn't have that experience at this level to take us to that, that pinnacle. And I feel like Ole Gunnar Solskjær falls into that same boat. So what I want to ask you, Lyes, is what is the plan with Ole? What from a fan's perspective for you guys, what was the expectation this season? Because last season you guys came third. So really, you would have looked to push on this season. And we know, we talked about this earlier on a couple of months ago, that even though you guys were going through that form, you were never, ever the title challengers. I just felt like long run, you can never be. And you also said City's the team to look forward to. And look, they're like, 5 points ahead with 2 games in hand or something ridiculous. What is the true expectation with Ole Gunnar Solskjær, my man?
Right. So I think I'm actually going to start at the very beginning when we first hired Ole. And for most Man United fans, they'll remember the mess we were in under Jose Mourinho. It was a bit like Chelsea when they fired Mourinho in 14-15. Like the squad in general, I think needed a reboot. You only really got that a few years later. But that's what this United team needed. I think the dressing room was sour. The relationship between the fans and the club was at the worst it had ever been. And Ole was never the long-term option. He was the interim manager until we could get a Maurizio Pochettino or Zidane in the summer. And Ole put himself in such a good position with his first 3 months in charge. Of course, we remember PSG. We remember the 11-game winning run. That it effectively made it impossible for the club to not give him a long-term contract. And his first full year, his job was to get us into the top 4, and he did that. And then this year, I think, if you ask me, I think the expectation, if you were like a fly on the wall of the board meeting at Manchester United on the first day of the season, it was close the gap between Manchester City and Liverpool from where you were last year to where you are this year, right? If you finished 30 points behind Liverpool last year, finish 10 points behind them, or the same with City. Yeah. And I thought that was a long shot. I predicted United the season to finish 6th or 7th after I saw the transfer window that we had. I didn't really believe in the team. I definitely didn't believe in Ole. And to give credit to both parties, they've done exceptionally well. If you look at Manchester United, you don't think that they should be a team that can challenge for the league, right? Like you said, they should not be contenders. So for me to be where they are at this stage of the season, I didn't expect it, and you have to give credit to Ole. However, I asked the question. The expectation was close the gap on Liverpool, and right now we are 5 or 6 points ahead of Liverpool halfway through the season. So you could say, he's actually over exceeding expectations. But my question is, at the beginning of the season, was the expectation to be ahead of Liverpool with all of their center backs gone, with their entire attack no longer playing as cohesively as they used to, with Henderson and Fabinho playing in center back? Was that the expectation, or was it the expectation to finish 10 points behind Liverpool at their best like they were the last 3 years? And I would have to say it's the latter. And to be honest, that Liverpool team has not existed. And I have to question, would this United team be 5 points ahead of last year's Liverpool team? Forget about the progress that United has made, because it wouldn't be a 35-point gap. But I don't think we would be 5 points ahead of Liverpool. And as for City, we've done really well to keep the distance with them up to this point. But one thing I want to stress is that City also came into the season a bit like us, late into the season because of their European adventure the season before. Basically late, out of shape, out of fitness, and they started the season extremely poor too. So I think now you're really seeing the true Manchester City, and it's quite evident that City is head and shoulders above United, head and shoulders. And the question that everyone is asking, not just you, is Ole the person to bring United and compete with the likes of City and Liverpool, and more importantly, Klopp and Pep Guardiola, because that's his direct competition, the coaches. And I've said for a long time, right, even when I came onto your show the first day, and I said I believe Ole is a better manager than Lampard. That doesn't mean that he's a better manager than Klopp and Guardiola. And I understand that he is rapidly improving on the job. I understand that his tactics have improved. I understand that the football United plays is head and shoulders above what we've played under our last 3 managers. But at the end of the day, we are battling against 2 of the best, if not the 2 best managers on the planet. And questions have to be asked. Can Ole improve enough to go head to head with these guys? I personally don't think so. I don't think it's realistic.
Yeah, look, completely hear what you're saying in regards to expectation. It seems like the expectation for this season was pretty much the same for all the other clubs like Chelsea and Arsenal to close the gap on Manchester City and Liverpool, which is quite funny. But I think down the track, obviously, close the gap. But you got to, if clubs like Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, they always thrive on, wanting to win silverware. So I guess from that perspective, as you said, you probably can't see Ole, like that's pretty much what you said, right? Les, you probably don't see down the track Ole actually challenging for a title. I mean, or do you actually see that? Because I personally don't see how he has that tactical. Because at the end of the day, we've seen, now that Thomas Tuchel's here, not just because Thomas Tuchel's here, like I've seen Frank Lampard, like he's good to a particular extent, and I feel like Ole is also good to a particular extent. But in order to go to that next level, in order to win titles, in order to win the Premier League title, which is so difficult to win, you need a very, very top-notch manager to do that. Like this comment here from Amran Ali, United standards have lowered since Fergie left. Not going to lie. Honestly, that's how I feel as well, man. Like, I mean, you have a good squad. I just feel like if you had a very top-notch manager, they would do a lot more damage with that squad.
That's really the question. That's really the main question. How much of it is that United needs to improve their squad, and how much of it is onto the manager? And that's something I've had a lot of conversations with over the last few weeks. Some people vehemently disagree with me. Some people kind of get where I'm coming from, but it is something that is cutting the fan base straight through the middle. And that's how much does Ole need to continue to be back to build a team that can contend, and how much of it is, look, we can buy him Declan Rice at defensive mid. We can buy him Donnarumma and goalkeeper. We can buy him Sancho on the right wing. We can buy him Ramos at center back. Yes, the team will get better. The performances, we may win 3 or 4 more games if we have Sancho rather than Greenwood. But these players are not going to, at least for me, take away the major structural issues that will continue to exist as long as Ole is there. So yeah, you can build a new ceiling, you can build new windows, you can add a new door, but as long as the base of the house is always the same, with the issues that it has, how much are these new acquisitions going to improve things? For me, I've said it so many times, and I said it actually after Liverpool, where we drew 0-0 at Anfield, and everyone said it was this great result, and I was very disappointed to come out of that game with a draw. Because for me, I said Liverpool is missing their entire defense. They're in a horrible form. We are top of the league, and we're going to Anfield. And we went there 70 minutes and got played off the park. And we showed that when we actually went for it, we created the 2 best chances of the game, and we were unlucky not to win. And I came out of that game saying that's a poor result, because if we're never going to beat them then at Anfield, when are we ever going to beat them if they go back full form? And I also said it's encouraging that we went to Anfield and we were coming out of it disappointed that we only got a draw. But I think it kind of signified that with Ole, this team will always have a ceiling. And like I said, no matter how many players you give him, I think the same basics will always continue to exist. The same basic principles, and for me, that have their major flaws will continue to exist.
No, 100% agreed, man. As we both said, you guys have a fairly decent squad, man. And you just said that, even if you keep adding to this and adding to this, which I'm sure you will, Ole will always have a ceiling. This is a really good commentary from Jonathan.
Yep.
Yeah, go on, bro. You were going to say something.
No, I was going to say, for example, the biggest talking point right now about United is the defense, and how much of it is down to Ole and how much of it is down to the players. And I've spoken to people in group chats, for example, and I'm hearing a lot of, listen, we have statistically right now, David De Gea is one of the worst goalkeepers in the Premier League. He's no longer even average. He's dreadful. So if we get a top-class goalkeeper and we get a top-class defensive midfielder, Manchester United's defensive problems will go down, and we'll concede less goals, and we'll look better defensively. And yeah, that's true. If we have Donnarumma or say Courtois or Oblak against Everton, we probably win that game. But for me, the biggest concern is the chances and the quality of chances and how poor our defense looks in these games. Yeah. Are you going to buy Ole Gunnar Solskjær an entire back line of like the World 11 to solve his defensive problems? At some point, structure and shape and switching from zonal to man marking on corners and how you
tactics,
defend
tactics.
That all comes into play. And you can put the best 4 defenders in Manchester United's defense. I guarantee you, the way we are set up, we're going to concede the same quality of chances. And go ahead.
100%. Jonathan's commentary: to progress further, United need a CB to promote Henderson, the goalkeeper, get a new DM, and I agree with Niz, replace Ole. Yeah, man, this is what we're saying. Like, if you want to be serious, we'll get to Kamal's comment very soon. Arman Ali, Greenwood needs to be reverted back to number 9. Looks isolated on the wing. Glazers have not backed Ole once. I don't know about this.
Listen, I don't think they didn't back him this summer. That's a fact. This summer they did not adequately back him. the goal was Jadon Sancho all summer, and we were left with a number 10 who doesn't get on the pitch. We were left with a backup striker, and we were left with a backup left back. I agree, but if you look at last summer, he bought him 130 million pounds worth of right back and center back. And that's 2/5 of your defense, and the other one is De Gea, who he gave a 5-year contract to.
Even in the last window, Donny van der Beek, Tellez, Cavani came in late on.
Diallo.
I mean, Diallo. Like surely. I mean, look, there comes a point, as you said, Lyes. It's not about how much you pump in anymore. It's about getting the best out of this team, which I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjær is doing. So, no, that's interesting, man. That's pretty much what we wanted to talk about, Man United. But moving forward, how confident are you in this FA Cup, my man? Because you guys do bottle it in the semi-finals.
To be honest with you, like I think City, I think they're winning 3-0 against Swansea right now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at that. I
would say outside of City, I'm fairly confident. Whoever we draw, like I'm not going to go into that game afraid. I think City, whoever draws them is finished, right? I think they're head and shoulders the best team possibly in Europe at the moment. But I think, no disrespect, like you guys look really good too. But if we drew you tomorrow, I wouldn't be like I'd say let's go for it, right?
Oh, you better be worried, bro. You better be worried, son.
We'll talk about Tuchel.
We will have your number. We will have your number.
But I don't know. Like I think in any game we can go head to head with someone. It's just City. I think there's no chance. But that's really how I look at the FA Cup. I think this season now has kind of became a thing of let's finish as high as we can in the Premier League. Let's solidify top 4 as early as possible. Let's try and get second place, which will be, for me, really good progress, right? Based on last year. And let's get a trophy. I think getting a trophy is the most important thing for the season now, because for me, the title race is over. I mean, it was nice to be in and around those positions for as long as we were. But I think at this point, City will kind of take over and run away with the league.
Nah, fair point, my man. Fair point. Look, there's words apparently, I don't know how true this is. If we beat Barnsley, which we'll talk about very next, then football style, I will get to your questions, my man. I know you're asking a lot of questions about Havertz. We'll get to that. I was just talking quickly about Man United. Les, there's some words that apparently if we beat Barnsley, our next opponent could possibly be Bournemouth. So you're probably not going to be facing us, apparently. I don't know how that works.
I don't think the draw is already made, is it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's some just words going around. I don't know how much of this is true, to be honest. But just a few people in the fan base have been saying it. It could be false. But yeah, man. I think Manchester City, very, very. It's going to be the toughest opponent in this FA Cup. They seem like they're going to be through against Swansea. Obviously, Tottenham's playing Leicester, so that's going to be interesting. But I think both those teams.
Tottenham Everton, actually. Tottenham Everton.
Oh, sorry, Tottenham Everton. So that's going to be interesting. Obviously, I think both of those teams can be defeated, although in a cup tie, you just don't know. But interesting, man. Let's talk about Barnsley versus Chelsea now, right? Let's do this preview. First of all, let's get to this burning question from Football Style. He's been asking about Kai Havertz. Look, my man, I just woke up literally an hour ago, so I didn't get to see the match press conference from Thomas Tuchel, which I will get to. I have read that Hakim Ziyech and Kante is pretty much set to start. They've been fit. They haven't featured that much, but this is the game where Thomas Tuchel said that he will make quite a lot of rotation, give the players a bit of break because quite a few players have been playing a lot. Callum Hudson-Odoi has been playing a lot. Mason Mount's been playing a lot, and obviously the back 3 predominantly has been playing a lot. Players like Ziyech, Kante, I even think Pulisic. There's a comment here from Sankev saying that Pulisic hat-trick tomorrow. Man, I would love that. Why not, honestly? But Kai Havertz. Lyes, I don't know if you've heard anything. I personally haven't heard. I know he was injured a couple of games ago. I don't think he was in the bench against Sheffield United, the one that we won. Look, I would assume that he should be fit because I haven't seen any huge news saying that he's not fit. Football style. I think that's probably my answer to that. I'd say at least be in the squad for that particular match. But let's now go from the top on this particular match, Lyes. We beat Barnsley in the League Cup earlier this season. I think it was 6-0. Kai Havertz scored a hat-trick. Tammy Abraham's link up with Kai Havertz was fantastic. There's a few comments going around in our particular social media platform in Twitter. They're saying, oh man, we really don't want Kai Havertz to score another hat-trick here because people are going to start throwing memes saying he's found his level. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, there is some truth to this. Look, if Kai does start and he bangs in a lot of goals, I mean, do you feel, because Man United fans have been on the back of this particular play. From your perspective, what do you think about Kai Havertz, man?
I think it's an interesting profile, and I made that video on Thomas Tuchel, and Kai Havertz has always been a puzzling conundrum for me, because I felt when Chelsea bought him for Lampard, I didn't see the role for him in this Chelsea team. I didn't see the position. I feel like from watching him at Leverkusen and from briefly seeing him at Chelsea, I feel like he's a player that you kind of have to make a role that everyone in the attack kind of bases around him. I feel like he has the center point of the attack. Yeah. And I think in a team like Bayer Leverkusen, you can do that. And I'm not doubting his quality, his talent, but I think at least up to this point, that Chelsea team under Lampard was struggling so much, and he really wasn't putting in great performances. His work rate is questionable. I don't think Lampard, whatever he did as a Chelsea manager, I don't think the right thing to do was to base the entire team around a young, struggling, honestly lazy player in Kai Havertz. I don't think that was the right thing to do. And now you come with Thomas Tuchel, who is very pragmatic. His organization skills are terrific. The way he sets up a team, everything is thought about to the T. So now change his entire philosophy to kind of center around one player who requires so much attention and so much love and so much shifting of pieces to get the best out of him. I don't think Thomas Tuchel is going to do that, and I don't blame him. So I think Kai Havertz, I always said I thought he was a club signing. I didn't think he was a Lampard signing. I thought Chelsea saw a really bright, talented young player that they could really swoop in before Bayern Munich or Real Madrid did.
Yeah. But I think actually has confirmed that apparently that it wasn't really a Lampard signing. He wasn't really pushing for Kai Havertz. It was really
where does he fit into your normal team? He's not a number 10. Yeah. He's not a number 9. He's not a number 8. He's not a real winger. He's almost like a 9.5 that kind of shifts into the half spaces, goes where he wants, languid. But then when he gets on the ball in attacking positions that are kind of created through his teammates through space, then he can hurt you. But that's just so many different situations that need to happen. And I don't think he's at that development in his career. I don't think he's at a club small enough to really do that for him where he has that luxury. So I think it's going to be definitely tough for him to fall into this Tuchel game plan, because something I didn't anticipate was Tuchel playing 3 in the back. I did not expect that to happen, and that's happened. And I was thinking he was going to play 4-2-3-1, and maybe Havertz could be turned into like that false 10, false 9, play behind a striker, kind of do what Mkhitaryan did or someone at Dortmund did. But that's not even happening. Now you're playing 3 in the back. I don't know where he fits into this Tuchel setup. So sorry to keep rambling on about him, but I just don't see where he fits at Chelsea. I have no idea.
I completely get where you're coming from. I think where he fits from my perspective, the whole, and we'll talk about this whole Tuchel. I wanted to get your perspective. Obviously, you've said that you're a bit surprised with 3 at the back. For me, I don't think I'm completely surprised. I'll tell you why. Because we were leaking a lot of goals. I think he might have just come in and he saw that defensively 4 at the back, we simply didn't have the quality besides Thiago Silva to play out that whole style. And that's why we're probably getting linked with some really, really big time defenders. There was a question earlier on, I think it might have been Football Style or might have been Kamal, who was saying that, we linked with Varane, we linked with Alaba. We're really linked with some top-notch, high experience, high caliber, Upamecano, really top defenders. And I think Thomas Tuchel is going for experience at the back before he can start thinking about putting the 4. But going back to the 3, I think, as I said, he might have looked at the situation and he thought that in order to stop the leakage of the goal and looking at the characteristics of all the defenders and the midfielders, the 3 at the back suits almost everyone. You look at Kovacic and Jorginho. 3 at the back suits them because defensively they're far more organized. You look at defenders like Rudiger, Azpilicueta, and Christensen at the moment. Even Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva will probably play 4 at the back easy. But the other lot, Azpilicueta has been superb in 3 at the back. We've seen him as a right centre back under Antonio Conte. Rudiger as well, 3 at the back, is comfortable. Christensen probably doesn't get found out that much with 3 at the back. So, I completely understand where he's coming from with that particular situation. In regard to Kai Havertz, my man, I think if the way we've been playing recently is 3, 2 6s, obviously the wing backs, and then really 3 up top, sometimes with a striker and 2 behind, like the 2 10s, or sometimes 2 strikers and a 10. I think he'll play that 10 role, or sometimes he could even play, if we play 2 up top, he could play alongside Timo Werner as that sort of false second striker, dropping deep and linking up. So I can see him either playing that 10 role or that sort of false 9 sort of striker role, alongside another striker, like say Kai Havertz and Tammy Abraham, Kai Havertz or Timo Werner, Kai Havertz or Giroud, or let's say Tammy Abraham, Giroud, Werner with Ziyech and Kai Havertz just behind them. So
maybe that's not the worst shout, right? Like for me, a player that I've often like compared to Havertz, not just in style but also just like body language and like attributes. Dele Alli at Spurs. If you really remember him at his peak at Tottenham, Pochettino was playing Kane, Son, and Ali. Ali was not playing in midfield. Ali was practically playing as another forward. Like he was that high up at times. And maybe you're right. Maybe Havertz can really do a trick up front next to Timo Werner. I just don't think it will really get the best out of his game. I feel like to get the best out of him, you have to put him in a designated role. But I mean, you have to get the best out of him, right? He's a 70 million, 80 million pound player.
Yeah, man.
You can't just leave him on the bench, right?
We have to. Mr. Roman Abramovich really wants to get the best out of this particular player. So, and I'm sure Thomas Tuchel will find a way, man. He's smart enough to find a way to get the best out of this. I do want to address this question. This is a very, very hot topic at the moment in our fan base. And I want to get your point of view on this. It's a shame. Thank you for this particular comment. What do you think of Zouma's situation under Thomas Tuchel? Here's the thing, Les. 3 at the back. If you look at the 3 characteristics, Azpilicueta in the right centre back is a fantastic right centre back, man. He's got that ability to at times put in a cross from that position, just drives up a little bit and puts in that early cross. Sometimes he even becomes an overlapping fullback, like he'll go beyond the wing back and create that overlap. And when it's Callum Hudson-Odoi in the wing-back position, Callum has that opportunity to lay that ball off to Azpilicueta, or even if it's Reece James. So he understands that role very well. Left side, Rudiger, this is where I feel like we have a bit of an issue, because I feel like Rudiger, as much as defensively he's doing really well, but someone like Alaba, let's say David Alaba, he had that same sort of attribute as Azpilicueta does, overlapping, and he'll be so dynamic from that left side. His ball playing ability is fantastic as well. He'll link up with the left wing back very, very well.
I do think though Alaba is off to Real Madrid. If you ask me,
look, that one is very close, but there's some rumors that we're trying to steal that and whatnot. Look, but I can understand the link. That's what I'm trying to say. I can understand the link and where Chelsea's thought process is in regards to that, who they want. And I feel like the one in the middle, that 3 defenders and the one in the middle is someone who needs to have very good ball playing ability. Like Thiago Silva is very decent in the ball. Andres Christensen is very decent in the ball, because you're going to touch the ball a lot and you're going to link up with the midfield a lot. They're going to try and link it back to you a lot. You'll be a reference point in that back 3. So now going back to this question, Liz, where do you think Zouma fits in Thomas Tuchel's plan? I'm worried, bro. I don't know if he exactly fits the right centre-back position, the centre of the centre 3 back position, or even the left, because I don't think he's a left footer, and I don't think his quality on the ball is good enough to do that in the long-term future. So as much as I love Zouma, I don't know if the future is so bright if we continue with 3 at the back, and hence why there's some rumors apparently that he could be sold. Your thoughts?
I mean, I think that last point you made, right? If you're going to continue with this 3 in the back situation, and for me, that's the key thing, because there's some players right now, and the brilliant thing about management, right, is when a new manager comes in, everyone is given a clean slate, and that's what's happening at Chelsea. And you're seeing Marcos Alonso, who has been revitalized. Like, he's back into the team. He looks great again. You see Antonio Rudiger, Jorginho, Azpilicueta, maybe Kepa this weekend. But I think while it's all rosy now and the new manager bounce has kind of been implemented and everyone looks good, once the results turn, which they will, right? Unless
Yeah.
Thomas Tuchel is God himself and nothing ever wrong happens. I think the results will turn. And I think you're going to see a lot of these players who have been brought into the fold kind of go back to the form that, let's face it, was probably the reason why they were benched in the first place. I don't think Marcos Alonso is a long-term option anymore at left wing back, right? I think he might be the best you have at the moment. But I think some of these players might go back to that form that kind of makes Thomas Tuchel realize, hey, maybe I do need a 4 in the back. And the main comparison has been made between Zouma and Rudiger, right? Because I think they both have similar profiles. They're the aggressive, more athletic of any partnership that they're in, like strong, fast, can ball play to a relative degree. But I think Antonio Rudiger has so many issues and so many problems, like he's so mistake prone at times that I feel like he's honestly going to play himself out of favor. Right. I feel like the mistakes are just going to keep adding on and on and on. And eventually, like, Zouma is going to get his place back. Whether long term he is the solution, because you're talking about that central center back position. I think Upamecano is made for that position. You see his role at Leipzig is just he practically plays as a holding midfielder. That's how good he is at that center back position, running up with the ball playing center back. Will Zouma kind of displace a guy like him? But I think for this season at least, I expect Zouma at some point to regain his spot, because I don't think Chelsea, this run of form, I think eventually you're going to hit a slump in the road. And I think Rudiger will, like, if you're going to put money on who's going to cost Chelsea a result this season,
it'll be Rudiger.
It's going to be Rudiger. So for me, Zouma, I think will get his place back in the team. Long term, we'll see.
So you reckon best chance for Zouma is probably Rudiger's spot, not really the center? Yeah,
because Thiago Silva's class, right? And I think he plays that central center back position the best. And when he comes back, he'll have that position. I like what like you said, Azpilicueta has shown under Antonio Conte. He can play this position really well. He has the protection. He doesn't need to be bombing up and down the right-hand flank. He has a great cross on him, great passer of the ball. I think that's his position. Yeah. But and he's the captain as well, right? I think that leadership that he brings to the team is always good. But I think Rudiger is probably the one Zouma would displace.
No, 100%. And at the end of the day, even Aspi's position can be taken by, let's say, Reece James. I think Reece James probably suits a lot more in the right centre back position as opposed to right wing back, because as right wing back, I don't think he's got that ability to take players on 1v1, which Callum Hudson-Odoi, which is, by the way, just quickly, first of all, shout out Amran Ali. I'm surprised with the latest knowledge on Chelsea, even though you're a United fan, you know more than and support Chelsea. This is the thing about Lyes, man. This guy is a football connoisseur. He knows about every football club, not just Chelsea. Obviously knows about United. But just quickly, my man, your thoughts about Callum Hudson-Odoi playing as a wingback?
Again, I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming whatsoever. I did tell you, right? You remember on the show, I told you I think Hudson-Odoi has a huge part to play in this Chelsea team. Yeah, but never in my wildest dreams that I expect him to be playing right wing back on the opposite flank as Alonso, right? I don't know which one is more surprising, Alonso's back in the team or Hudson-Odoi is at right wing back. But fair play to him.
I think Hudson-Odoi right wing back, bro. I think Alonso, I thought maybe he'll get a chance if we play three at the back. But Callum Hudson-Odoi as a wing back, wow, what a revelation.
He's a great player, and like he has always been for the last 2-3 years, kind of shadowed or overshadowed by different players, whether it's Willian, Hazard, Pedro, last year Pulisic coming into the team. But I'm glad that this is coming from a rival fan, right? Like, just when you look at young players, you always want to see them do well, and I'm glad that Thomas Tuchel has come into Chelsea, and one of his first things that he does is wrap an arm around, quite frankly, a really talented but kind of neglected player for the last 3 years, and he's kind of given him a clear role on this team. He's shown that he trusts him to be one of Chelsea's best players, and credit to him and credit to Hudson-Odoi. The results are showing that, he deserves to be playing every single game.
No, 100% agreed, my man. There's a really good comment here from Dennis Linyan. Guehi smashed Sterling on the floor today in the FA Cup. I didn't get to watch the FA Cup. I do want to go back and see the highlights because Guehi has been doing some amazing stuff for Swansea. He's a left-footed player as well, so we're looking for a left centre back. Guehi is a mad shout out. For me, Guehi and Ampadu. By the way, you watched the Man United versus Sheffield game, and Ampadu played in that particular game. How was Ampadu, by the way?
I erased everything from that game. Ampadu's another one, right? I don't know if he has a future at Chelsea, and I know a lot of Chelsea fans were really optimistic about him. I know some Chelsea fans were saying we don't need Declan Rice because Ampadu is the future of defensive midfield, but he had a really tough loan spell at Leipzig. I think at Sheffield United, it's extremely difficult to really shine there, as you're seeing with players like Ryan Brewster this year. But Yeah, I don't know if he has a real future at Chelsea, to be honest with you. I think he's a good player, good young player, but I don't know. I don't think his future is at Stamford Bridge.
Nah, man. Look, I personally think he should at least be, because I've watched a couple of Sheffield United games and he's been playing good. And then a few other ones where I've been seeing the Sheffield United admin sort of coming out and posting a lot of stuff for him. And he's been getting man of the match awards as well. And both of these players are left-footed. Guehi and Ampadu are left-footed, and they've been playing Ampadu has been playing in the left centre-back position. Guehi, I haven't watched too much of Swansea. I don't think they play with three at the back. He's probably playing as a left centre-back in the back four. And it's that left foot that really excites me. But I think Thomas Tuchel down the track is going for experience in the back line. Hence why we are, linked with so many high-caliber profile of CVs. But let's keep moving on with this particular preview. I mean, Barnsley, look, no disrespect to Barnsley. I don't think they're going to be a massive challenge for us. We did touch them up last time. Where do you see, from your perspective, Chelsea's chances in this particular FA Cup run, man? Because I feel like we're a good shout as well. I know you're high on Man United going far in this particular cup, but I feel we're there as well. Your thoughts, man?
Well, let me tell you this. I told you, right, the only team I fear personally is City. And I feel like if we played you guys, I would probably favor us, honestly, because first of all, I've seen Ole against Tuchel. He actually finds a lot of success against them. Like when you look at their previous
PSG,
PSG twice. I think even this year we lost the home leg, but we were the much better team against PSG in the second leg at least. And in the first leg, we snatched a win at the last second. But I feel like those kinds of games against a coach like Tuchel, Ole kind of gets the best out of it. I don't know how he does it, but
do you reckon it's because he just plays very counter-attacking football?
I mean, but here's the thing. Against PSG at home at Old Trafford, we actually dominated them. Like, if you look at the possession stats, before the red card, we were all over them. And Martial missed some huge chances. Cavani missed a huge chance. Like, we were the much better team against PSG. But I don't know, against these pragmatic managers, I have a lot of respect for Tuchel, but I feel like Ole always finds a way of beating these guys. However, I think if anyone has a chance of beating City, it's you guys. I think Tuchel against Pep Guardiola is a really interesting matchup because they have very similar philosophies, the juego de posición, football in space. I feel like they have a lot of similarities. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup when those two teams do eventually meet up, whether it's in the cup or in the league. But I give you guys a better chance of beating City than us. I feel like Tuchel can go head-to-head with Guardiola in a tactics match. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjær can do it. Solskjær will need, against City, to go complete 5 at the back, park the bus to have any chance against him. Because every time he's tried to go head-to-head against him, like by playing football, it hasn't worked. Because quite simply, we're just not a better footballing team than them. You guys have shown a real strength now in controlling games and keeping possession. And when you lose the ball, like this press that you guys have now is a Tuchel.
It's so good, man. It's so good at press.
But I'm telling you, that's what. And again, if you guys want to learn more about Tuchel, watch my video on this because I talk a lot about. This. Tuchel's whole philosophy is dominating space, and that's whether you have the ball and crowding certain situations, or in terms of when you don't have the ball, the press that he institutes, like, it's unbelievable. And you're seeing that at Chelsea in just a few short weeks. They've mastered the press in what?
Insane.
4 games. It's taken Solskjaer like 3 years, and we still haven't gotten a press like that. So I feel City versus Chelsea, will be a fascinating watch. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, man. I have been so impressed with our pressing layers, man, because I've been telling you, during the Frank Lampard times, that 2 months period between December and January, bro, everything sort of fell apart. Our pressing. You even mentioned last season when we played you guys in the FA Cup semi-finals, we pressed you guys out of the park. But all of that sort of disappeared. And as soon as Thomas Tuchel came back, it's like we know how to press again, the structured press. Mason Mount is more structured with his running. Everyone knows that there's a trigger point, and it's that counter pressing as well, Lyes. It's when we lose the ball, how quickly gegen pressing and getting the ball back. I've been so impressed with that attitude. And kudos to Kovacic and Jorginho. By the way, quickly, this has been a hot topic as well in our fan base. Kovacic and Jorginho, man. I know you've been after our man Jorginho. You don't really like him that much in that double pivot either. But I feel like Thomas Tuchel's gone for ball players in that particular double sixes. People that can control the possession, that can be press resistant, that can sort of control the tempo of the match whenever they need to. They may not be the most players that always finds key passes, but they control the game. Hence why we've been so heavily in regards to possession, but we've also cut down opposition's chances. We've only had, apparently, against Spurs, Eric Lamella's shot in the second half was like the first shot in Thomas Tuchel era.
You guys dominated Spurs. It was absolute domination in every sense of the word, right? Like, I don't care what Spurs did in the last 5 minutes. You guys outclassed them. And the point on Jorginho, like, I again, you're right. I'm not a fan of Jorginho, but if you remember on your show, I said I believe Jorginho will be given chances by Tuchel, because I think when he comes into a club, he identifies who his ball-playing midfielders are. Weigl, Gundogan, Verratti. Like, he always looks for the players that are, first of all, comfortable under a press, which Jorginho is, comfortable at going into the first phase of the midfield and collecting the ball off his defenders and playing it to other players. He excels at. And some people were saying, oh, he's not athletic enough. But you correctly pointed out that the defense protects these two midfielders in Kovacic and Jorginho. Like, Kante is an infinitely better defensive midfielder than Jorginho or Kovacic, right? He is a defensive monster. He is one of the best defensive midfielders on the planet for the last 5 years. But when you have three in the back, your midfielders are already being protected by, first of all, your wing backs in Alonso or Hudson-Odoi or Reece James, or by your three defenders. So the defensive work rate that N'Golo Kante provides, first of all, and just the work rate and the ability to cover every blade of grass isn't really required. You need players who can play on the ball. And Kante, of course, is a good ball player. I think it's overrated how poor. People sometimes say he's a poor ball player. I think he's definitely good on the ball. But
here's a question, Liz. Here's a question just quickly before you get into the Jorginho and Kovacic. For me, Kante, he may be good on the ball, but I feel like he doesn't want to get the ball that much. I don't feel like he wants to be the reference point where you want to give him, let's say, 100+ touches a match. I don't think he wants that.
Spot on. No, spot on. And I think you saw it in the Spurs game when he came on, whether it was for Jorginho or Kovacic.
Kovacic.
First of all, like, you're right. He doesn't go and collect the ball as often as Jorginho and Kovacic do, right? Jorginho is constantly dropping deep, asking for the ball, looking to start attacks. Yeah. And Kante, I remember his first action in the Spurs game. He gets it. He tries to turn to the ball, and someone is like running directly at him. And those players aren't just directly running at Kante, right? They're obviously trying to defend anyone. But I think the way Jorginho positions himself around the pitch is really perfect for a modern day number 6. And I think that's why Sarri bought him in the first place. That's when you see like a Rodri at City or a Fabinho at Liverpool or a Partey at Arsenal. That's the modern day number 6. And though Jorginho does not have those athletic capabilities, he has those ball playing capabilities, and that's why he's being favored.
Do you reckon you guys miss a player like that? Like, if you want to elevate yourself to the next level and be a very possession based football team, do you reckon you miss a player that, like, let's say, like a Thiago Alcantara type of player? Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God, I cannot tell you the amount of times I had to block a few people this week actually, because we were talking about Fred. And Fred is a player that absolutely does my head in. Absolutely. Like, I don't hate many United players. I think Lindelof is in that area of player I dislike. Dan James
is bad. Lindelof is bad, bro.
Bad is an understatement. Lindelof is terrible. But when you look at Fred is a player, and I got a ton of stick for this, right? I said Fred is a player we spent 52 million on. He can't defend. He can't pass the ball well. He can't head the ball. He can't protect the back four. He can't run. He can't dribble. He can't shoot. He can't finish.
But there's passion, vibes. There's passion and vibes.
Nah, the only thing Fred shows that is chaos, right? Like, he'll get himself stuck in, and he'll have a game where, like, he'll run the most on the pitch. But there's a difference between working hard and working smart. And Fred does not work hard. But Fred has this huge fan base at United that clearly will defend him against any vehement dislike of him coming from myself. So, like I said, I had to get rid of some people on Twitter for that. But 100%, man. I've said, how many times do we need Declan Rice in that midfield? Or an Alcantara in the summer would have been perfect, just to play alongside of Paul Pogba, to take care of the first phase the first phase job that a midfielder has to do, because we don't have that kind of player. We have players who love to play in the second phase, players like Bruno and Van de Beek who love to play in the third phase, but no player in that first phase to control the game.
Would you guys have liked someone like, say, Kovacic or Jorginho in your team? Like, would they have elevated your team, those two players? Because I want to know, because our fan base sometimes disregards Kovacic and Jorginho so much, and I feel like they're underrated. But from a Man United fan's perspective, would you be like, you know what, they could possibly do a job for us if we had them?
I mean, they could definitely do a job. For Kovacic, for example, I was Kovacic's biggest fan at Inter Milan. I knew about Kovacic before anyone was really talking about him. That's not to like brag. Like, Kovacic was my guy at Inter Milan. But then when he went to Real Madrid, he kind of transformed to the player he is today. He was much more of a final third, like goal-scoring midfielder at Inter Milan. Like, you look back at some of his clips, this guy is dribbling players, shooting from 40 yards out. If you guys are Chelsea fans, watch Kovacic highlights from Inter. You will be baffled at the player he used to be. He is so much different now. But now he's obviously much more of like a technically secure, possession-based midfielder. And Jorginho is kind of like I was saying, that more modern-day number 6. But I think Kovacic wouldn't get in over Pogba, no chance. But Jorginho may start for us at the moment. But I do think we need more of a destroyer, more of a physical specimen, like a Partey, like a Fabinho, like a Patry. I think we need a bigger, stronger, more defensively reliable defensive midfielder in that position. That's why I've been so like vehemently crying out for a Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice is made for this midfield. No,
fair enough. With Frank Lampard gone and our sort of interest on Declan Rice probably dying with
one can hope.
Lyes has already done the cross and hope. Bro, I mean, well, just quickly, and I want to talk about this from Itisham as well, and then we'll go to our lineups to finish things off. Couple of things. Declan Rice, how big is that? Is that news picking up any sort of heat from you guys at the moment, or is there any solid rumors for Declan Rice?
I'm not sure, but I will be driving any news, any rumors myself. I'll make it a reliable source. I promise you, I will be able to get Declan Rice. If I have to make a compilation and send it to him, I'll do it.
But please do, because I actually have Declan Rice in my DMs, because he DM'd me last season. Yeah, he liked one of my posts when I said something about Ampadu and whatnot. He accidentally liked it because Ampadu went on loan. And I said that this is probably set up for Declan Rice to come to Chelsea, and he liked my comment. And I was saying, oh my God, I think Declan Rice is going to Chelsea. And then he DM'd me saying, no, that was all mistake. I didn't mean to do that. All respect to Ampadu. So now my DMs are open with him. So I DM him every now and then after he plays. And I full suck up to him like, oh, well done, Declan. Well done, Declan. And no reply from Declan Rice at all. So if you do have a compilation, maybe I can send it to him and give it to him first.
I'll sneak in a come to United at the end of it.
Absolutely. Just quickly on this, Haaland, we are heavily rumored with this particular player, man. And I now see why we are, because none of our strikers are really firing. I mean, I think Timo Werner is still long-term, and I still hope he has a future. He's everything besides scoring, he's doing well. He's contributing to the goals. But I think Tammy Abraham and Giroud definitely has big question marks, hence why we link with Haaland. What's the situation with Haaland for you guys?
I mean, there's always the Solskjaer link. He was his coach at Mold. But if you ask me, I think Haaland is City-bound. I think Haaland is going to be a Manchester City whether it's next year or the year after that. I think when you look at the one real weakness in the City team, it's center forward. They haven't been able to keep Sergio Aguero fit. Gabriel Jesus has major question marks over how efficient he can be as a finisher. And Erling Haaland's father was a Manchester City player. I think he was a Manchester City fan growing up. And I think it's very hard to say no to Pep Guardiola. I honestly see Erling Haaland being a Manchester City player in the next 2 years. That's my honest opinion.
I had no idea Haaland's father was a City player.
Let me tell you this. Here's a fun fact for you guys. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the video or heard the story of Roy Keane breaking that player's leg after, like, as a revenge. I don't know if you guys ever heard that story or watched that video. That player was Erling Haaland's father. Erling Haaland's father had his knee broken or had his leg broken by Roy Keane. 100%.
Wow.
Alfie Inge Haaland. Go look it up.
Just quickly, we will go to the lineups right away. Akil, thanks for joining, my man. Report saying Dortmund will have to sell 8 of their stars, including Sancho and Haaland, if they don't get Champions League football. Wow. I don't know about Bundesliga. Where are they at the moment? Are they not
I
in the
think
Champions
the
League
moment
positions?
no, at the moment they're definitely out of it, and there's a huge chance. I read the same report, Akil. The report said that already they've lost 26 million pounds due to television. Like obviously the money lost with the television deal. Obviously that's much less than it was last year, and they
Wow.
are at risk of losing up to 75 million pounds if they fail to qualify for the Champions League this year. And I don't think Haaland will leave Dortmund this year. I think they will be able to keep him, but I would have to say Jadon Sancho is gone. I think Jadon Sancho, first of all, wants that move that he was declined last year.
Man United?
I think Jadon Sancho to Man United is as good as done. That's my honest
Bro,
opinion.
you're buzzing. You are buzzing, aren't you? Wait till we sneak in right at the end and steal him from you.
He's definitely a player that United has wanted for so long. We spent all of last summer after him, and I think Ed Woodward has kind of pulled off an accidental genius stroke, right? Dortmund wanted 120 million for him. Ed Woodward said no, and now he could be 20, 30 million cheaper than he was last year. I don't give any credit to Woodward. I think it's completely luck. But I honestly think that's a deal that's going to happen.
No, fair play, man. Fair play. I don't know, man. We've got a reservation on Ole Gunnar Solskjær, so we'll keep it to that. I don't know how Sancho will do with him. But boys, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this lineup to wrap things up right here.
Yep.
So I'll go with my lineup first. Lyes, you let me know whether you agree or not. But this is how I would set things up. Kepa, for me, will start against Barnsley because Mendy, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you probably don't need to give goalkeepers rest. But, I mean, you want to give someone a bit of minutes. And I think Kepa probably deserves to get some minutes in FA Cup at least, especially against Barnsley. And Mendy could just chill out, have the night off, my man, go to a restaurant, have yourself a good dinner, do all of that. Why not? This is where it gets very interesting for me because Zouma has to start. So for me, I would play Zouma here and give Rudiger a bit of a break. And I want to see exactly what Zouma is capable of. Hopefully we keep a clean sheet and Zouma does well. This one, we don't have any other centre-backs remaining. We've got Tomori on loan and we've got Silva injured. So it has to be Andres Christensen, I feel, that has to play that particular position. Unless we use someone from the academy, which I don't even know if there is one at the moment that can fill that position. So all of a sudden, with three at the back, now it feels like, we needed that Tomori sort of backup. But then again, look, he's doing his bits in AC Milan. This one, I think Aspi will get a break, and I think we will see Reece James play that position. And I want to really see this player play this position because I feel that is probably a better position for him instead of playing in the right wing back in this sort of place. Now, this is where it gets very, very interesting. I think Chilwell has a lot to prove, Lyes. I don't know if he's been that great in recent times, and he has a lot to prove. Alonso probably will play the game after this, which is against Newcastle. So I don't know if I would use him. It would be very much a throw-up here against Chilwell or Emerson. Emerson hasn't even seen any minutes under Thomas Tuchel, so look, I would actually give this to Chilwell. I know a lot will say give it to Emerson, but I think Emerson may not be in the plans. We just have too many left backs, to be honest, in the club. 3 left backs is just too much. And now with Alonso back into the frame, I think Chilwell will probably start here, and Alonso probably will start in the Newcastle game. This is interesting. Now, if Reece James is playing right centre back, who do you play in the wing back? Now, do you go with Callum Hudson-Odoi, who probably needs to play against Newcastle? Well, we don't have any other options at the moment. The other thing is that you play Azpilicueta and you play Reece James in the right wing back, but I think I'm going to go with Callum Hudson-Odoi here, purely for the sense that Azpilicueta probably needs a break because he's played 4 games in a row under Thomas Tuchel. So for me, I'd go with that. Unless, guys, let me know in the comments who you would actually have on the right side in the right centre back and right wing back position. It would be interesting to know. In the double pivot, I think it will be Billy G will get his opportunity because I think he's a like-for-like change up for Jorginho. I think athletic-wise, Billy Gilmore is probably a bit better than Jorginho. So this will be interesting. And Thomas Tuchel has said that Billy Gilmore's close. He's very close to making the first team, and I think this might be the game. Kante, undoubtedly, he's already mentioned that he's starting. So for me, that's the case. And the way we generally play is more sort of inside forward. So for me, it will be Ziyech once again. Thomas Tuchel has mentioned that Ziyech is starting, and for me, Ziyech has so much too. There was a very cocky comment from him, and I love this about Hakim Ziyech, Lyes, that this is why I love this player so much, because he's got that arrogance, that confidence. He said that you guys haven't seen the real Hakim Ziyech as yet, and you will very soon. He is on the way. So I think hopefully, Ziyech plays well against Barnsley, and we can start seeing the real Hakim Ziyech coming through. For me, this might be Pulisic. He has been fit. He did miss out on the last game due to personal issues. I think he will be back. And this, my man, is a bit of a question mark as well. There's talks about Kai Havertz. There's talks about Tammy. I think I'll give Tammy Abraham an opportunity here, and hopefully Kai Havertz can come off the bench. For me, this is the team to take care of Barnsley. My man, Lyes, what do you think about that lineup? Would you change anything?
I agree with most of it, right? If you want to go through the team, Kepa, I agree, will definitely play in goal. Chilwell versus Alonso, I agree Emerson is out of the picture completely. I don't think Tuchel has him in his plans. And I think, honestly, like you said, 3 left backs at one club is just too much. The one area that I really disagree, or I don't even say it's disagree, right? I think it's just a prediction more on my part. I have a feeling he's going to go 4 in the back. I think he's going to use this game as an experiment to see what he can get out of a four-man defense. And I think it'll be Reece James right back, what's his name, Christensen and Zouma at center back, Chilwell on the left back. I think he's going to give this game an opportunity to test that out, right? Because I think this is a game you can kind of afford to experiment in. Outside of that, I agree, Gilmour and Kante in midfield. Ziyech is, he has to start.
Do you sort of see it like this then, Lyes?
Yes, I see it exactly like that. Well, maybe different players in each position, but I see 4-2-3-1 being the way for this game. And I think Gilmour and Kante will play in midfield. Gilmour is a really good player, but he obviously has a lot of competition in there. And Kante is kind of finding his way in this new system. Pulisic will play, I think, on the left. I think Ziyech will play on the right. And Ziyech is someone in my video on Tuchel, I said, I actually think he will be the person that will miss out. I think he's going to end up not being a long-term success at Chelsea, just because I don't see him as a typical Thomas Tuchel attacker who can kind of run with the ball, take players on, commitment forward, run in behind. I just don't think he's that kind of player. And that's typically what you get out of Thomas Tuchel attackers, unless he does play in the number 10 position, where I think his distribution could really help him there. So I see Pulisic on the left, Ziyech on the right. And honestly, I would probably see Havertz kind of at the 10 with either Abraham or maybe even Giroud up front. But you could see it kind of turn into a 4-4-2 where Havertz ends up playing up front with Tammy Abraham. I think this is a game where you can kind of afford to experiment. And I honestly believe that's how Chelsea will line up tomorrow.
That's interesting, bro. I wouldn't mind that. It's a good shout out from you saying that it could be a game where Thomas Tuchel might try that 4 at the back and just see sort of slowly build that foundation for 4 at the back. Ultimately, look, that's what the fan base wants to see. You still want to see the double sixes with Billy Gilmour and N'Golo Kante, who Billy Gilmour is very, very comfortable with the ball. So should be able to take care of that. But yeah, Havertz and Tammy Abraham up front with Ziyech and Pulisic, I think that's very, very juicy. Obviously, Chilwell is far more comfortable as a left back as opposed to a left wing back. Similarly with Reece James as well, far more comfortable as a right back.
That's another huge thing. I think those two are just more natural right back and left back. I think you correctly pointed out, right wing back, you really need to be able to bomb forward and take players on. I don't think that's Reece James' best strength, right? I think he actually makes a really good right center back, but I think his best position is right back, not right wing.
No, fair point. Guys, there are 2 interesting formations, lineups for myself and Lyes. Let us know what your thoughts are in this particular lineup. Lyes, man, you've done a good job here, bro. I really like that lineup. You've sold me on that. Because, I wouldn't mind seeing that because that's got a lot of firepower up front, man. Pulisic, Havertz, Tammy, Ziyech with Reece James and Chilwell sort of coming in. My only concern, Lyes, is if we employ this in bigger games, I don't know Zouma, AC, Kante, Billy Gilmour, especially Kante, who's he's got the tendency to always sort of drive up around these areas. Defensively, he's very good. I mean, he can track back, but, I think off the ball, it really has to be, something like this. Because in the attack with the ball, it might turn out something like this. Well, and as you can see, you leave the centre backs exposed with Billy Gilmour, and that's where the issue becomes.
That's why at Dortmund and at PSG, and this is why I had my reservations on Billy Gilmour at the moment while he is still young and still growing. At Dortmund and at PSG, Tuchel managed to convert Marquinhos and Julian Weigl on the ball, they would go and basically play as a center back, and off the ball they would kind of fill into the midfield. And in this area, right, Billy Gilmore would be that Marquinhos or that Julian Weigl, but I don't think he has the physical capability, the physical attributes to kind of be someone who drops into a back three. So that's where I agree with you, right? Like, how is Billy Gilmore going to be able to shield this back four in or a Jorginho or a Kovacic? Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. But I think that's also where Chelsea needs to do some recruitment, right? I think everyone agrees that number 6 is the position Chelsea really desperately needs. Imagine a Declan Rice, for example, in Billy Gilmore's position. Look at this formation. See Declan Rice there. He's adequate. He's almost like a Marquinhos-esque player. I honestly think he'd be a perfect Thomas Tuchel player.
Because what Declan Rice will do is he'll make this happen. Do you know what I mean? He'll drop in between and then he'll just make it a 3 at the back. Do you know what I mean? And then Kante sort of becomes more sort of box to box right here.
Spot on.
And you need someone like a very athletic player in that particular position here to really support the centre backs. And that could be the future, and that's probably why in recent times we've been linked with Marquinhos as well. And I wouldn't be one bit surprised if Thomas Tuchel sort of reunites himself with Marquinhos. But ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this particular preview show, and not just that, you got a lot of Man United information as well from Lyes. My man Lyes, honestly, I love having you in my channel. You can see the comments that's coming through for you. Guys, please check the description below for Lyes's socials, his YouTube, which is Whole Lotta Mid. Please subscribe ASAP. Get him to 2,000 subscribers straight away. The man has ambitions of hitting 10K subscribers by the end of this year. So let's help him out. He's such a brilliant mind when it comes to football. And also follow him in Twitter. So I've got all the links here. Itisham already has said, I will give him a follow. There you go, my man. That's one that I've got right there, right now. Itisham, thank you so much. To every single one of you guys who have joined throughout this stream and who are still here, thank you heaps for always supporting and always coming to this show. Please smash that like button. Helps the channel out a lot. And before I go, Lyes, my man, some final words from you.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's always a pleasure coming on. Thank you, and thank you for the followers, the kind words that you guys have given me today. Really appreciate it. But like Miss said, if you love football, not just Man United, not just even Chelsea, I try and cover it all, and even compilations, right? I had a video on Cristiano Ronaldo. Did really well.
That was bomb, bro.
Oh, my God.
How was it? 30K likes?
Yeah, close to that. But I'm always doing stuff like that. I got a new a new feature on my channel coming soon called The Archive. But if you guys love football, if you guys love everything about it, come join the channel. We're a family. We're growing soon, and hopefully Miz will be on there soon as well. Thank you.
100% true, bro. Prediction for me, guys, just to wrap things up, I believe it will be a 3-4-0, hopefully, victory for us. No disrespect to Barnsley. We did touch them up 6-0 earlier this season. I'm thinking there should be a similar case. We will keep a clean sheet. Hopefully, Kepa keeps a clean sheet as well. So, guys, with that, that's the end of the show. Until next time, see you lot. Take care. Bye.
Peace.